Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of It Ain't Weak to Speak. My name is Sam Webb, and this show is dedicated to ending the stigma around mental health through community, connection, and the hard-hitting truth. I'll be speaking with guests from all over the world about life to inspire and to educate people to speak up so that we can save more lives. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Well, I'm actually joined on the podcast by a great man who's achieved amazing things in his life. We also hold a very mutual connection with our love for Survivor TV. But this man's story goes deeper than that. He's an all-round legend when it comes to surfing. I'm so honoured to actually be sitting here in front of you, Ross. I used to look at you when I used to watch The Biggest Wednesday back in the day and think, how the hell are these blokes surfing outside log cabins this big? Mate, welcome onto the show. I'm stoked to have you on. How are you?
It's a pleasure, mate. Pleasure to be here. Oh, lockdown. Pleasure to be in lockdown with you.
Where's lockdown for you right now, mate?
Phillip Island on Cape Willamai is lovely day down here, but you can't go out anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, you can for exercise. You know, the government, I mean, that's the stage or level 3 right now.
Yeah, it's pretty severe.
Probably going to get worse. Yeah,
it is, mate. I'm out here in LA, and it's we're in 4 weeks, and then they're going to reassess it. So I dare say this will carry on for quite some time. What about surfing and that, mate? Can you still get out and surf? I know that you
No, well, you can. I mean, I've seen guys. I haven't surfed yet since my accident on Survivor. That was May 30th last year. So
what?
I've been out for it's been incredible. I've missed a lot of opportunities, big waves and Nazare. I missed the WSL toe surfing contest. Luckily I didn't miss the Eddie Cow again, because they didn't have it. That's been torture for me,
mate. Let's just rewind the clock for those people who don't know. Ross, your full name Ross Clarke-Jones. Do you go by Ross?
It's actually Howard. Oh, it's actually Howard Ross Stewart Clarke-Jones, but
okay.
I go by Ross Clarke-Jones.
Howard Ross Clarke-Jones, but you go by Ross Clarke-Jones. Mate, so let's rewind the clock then, because I want to find out exactly what that experience has been like, because injury is bad at the best of times, but almost nearing a year now in recovery or rehab, whatever you want to call it. It must be challenging, especially being active like you are. How did it happen, mate? I know that you're on Survivor.
I mean,
day 28. What happened?
Yeah, day 28, I was like, getting into the game, and I had my alliances all set and ready to go to merge, ready to vote Harry out.
Oh, mate, what happened?
And then I was doing like a rope swing from platform to platform, a very low level rope swing. And I thought, this is no worries. It's like probably the easiest part of the course. And mid-swing, the rope started unraveling and broke, and I just collected the next platform, and they thought I broke my ankle, but it was actually worse with a syndesmosis. Thing was the ligaments just got torn from the between the two bones on the leg. It was horrific.
Wow! So the actual accident was much worse than people probably perceived it was on the show.
Well, it said it was a broken ankle, which is literally a broken ankle. But my bones are really strong, so the bones didn't break, but the ligaments came off. So they had to do a tightrope construction and screws and you know what? That was. I've had some injuries. I broke my neck. I broke my back, and fractured. Not torn ligaments in my arms and stuff, but I've never had an ankle injury like this, and it's probably the worst injury I've ever had.
Wow! Even after surfing, the size of waves that you've.
Yeah, like when I got on the rocks. So when I got collected on the rocks in Nazare in 2018, it was like February something. I was getting battered around like a pinball, and that didn't have any impact at all. Just my legs got a bit corked.
Oh, wow.
So it's something like this, those silly little things. But Survivor was a great experience.
Did you find it hard, mate, mentally? Like, given the situations you've
You
found
know
yourself
what?
in?
I found like my mental state. I actually realized out there after 28 days, I am fine. I am like, I don't have a mental problem at all. Like I was really stable. I was surprised. Like, the emotions of, being surfing or Instagram or all the technologies or money and all this stuff, and it goes up and down. And when you just simplify your life to a couple of friends that you enjoy their company, couple of rice and beans, a couple of, and a couple of challenges, one per day. I mean, I couldn't sleep out there, and coconuts, and I was having a ball. And I realized, I could be out there alone if I needed to. I realized how stable I was. People used to think, accuse me of being crazy, but I realized how uncrazy I am.
Wow. So what, mate, just quickly on that experience before day 28, I guess, turn the course of the next 12 months of your life around. What was the hardest thing about Survivor for you, mate? What was the experience like?
The hardest thing for me was sleeping. I have sleep apnea, which causes a lot of other problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I should be using a CPAP machine, which I haven't been the last couple of years, off and on. It's just a hassle. But really, it's a necessary part for that disease or disorder, sleep disorder. And I realized out there, I mean, like I was choking out there pretty much. You don't get enough oxygen to your brain, and so you just walk around like a zombie all day. But I was up all night pretty much. Like I try and get a couple of hours or a couple of minutes on the beach, and then it started raining, and then I went to the shelter. Apparently, I started snoring for 1 minute, and people are like waking me up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to burn everyone in their shelter right now. In the end, what I did was just built the fire all night and hung by the fire and just kept that going all night. That was my savior for sanity, I reckon.
Wow.
The fire kept me going for sure. I was just so happy when the sun started to come up.
And then the whole day come, and then you like,
and then I'd go, oh yes,
today, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'd
exciting.
go to sleep morning every morning. It was cool. I really enjoyed that.
How do you, mate? And I know you and Luke were very close out in the island. Luke, obviously.
Luke and Dave, and the girls with Janine and Pia and Abby, and we just. I mean, because of the merge, the tribe swap and stuff, and it was a bummer because Dave and Luke were just trying to get back because they separated us. I mean, Luke were on the beach laughing our heads off about the bananas and stealing bananas and stuff. I mean, we're in fits of laughter. We were having so much fun, and then he said to me, "I bet you they split us up.
Oh, no.
We're having too much fun here,
And you do it again? Would you do all this again if you do?
I don't know. Like I've been watching, this last season, and I'm like, you know what? Yes and no. I just sort of to and fro. I went, yeah, I'd love to do that again. And then I'd go, no, not the same spot. Then maybe some other location or something. Or I don't know. I've been weighing up to go on or not go on but. Yeah, I don't know. They told me a once in a lifetime. I don't know, twice in a lifetime.
Yeah, no, mate. Maybe the next challenge is waiting for you, mate. Once you get past this recovery, talking about this ankle recovery, mate. Like putting yourself on the sidelines for this long, given that you said earlier you've had some horrific accidents in the past that haven't put you out or caused this much problems for you. How have you managed to deal with this, mate? This last,
it's been really tough. I've been actually depressed a lot. I mean, because once you can't move off the couch. I mean, that's how I was stuck for a while with my moon boot, and my froth for life it was like a caged animal. And it was difficult, and I didn't want to talk to friends, which I probably should have been. I just cut everybody off. I had to, because I was feeling horrible. I cut my children off, or they wanted to talk to me. I didn't want to talk to anybody, which was it was hard to take because if anyone, people that know me, that my zest for life is unequaled. I just want to go everywhere and talk to everyone and have fun all the time. But this wasn't fun. I mean, I think I've watched everything on Netflix. It just bores the shit out of me now. But then I think I've turned a corner. I've hit the bottom of the market, if you like. But and starting to exercise more with my and doing all my physio. I've been driving to Melbourne every 3 or 4 days from Phillip Island.
Wow.
Which is like, I couldn't even drive. And that's a passion of mine, to drive. And I couldn't even drive. I was like, oh, this is fucked.
So everything that you had's sort of taken away from you. And to a
spot. I'm like, I went from this high from Survivor going, this is one of the ultimate peaks. And then as soon as I hit that platform, it just went downhill. And it just ruined my surfing. I couldn't do anything. I'm like, I can't even drive. I was set to go to Germany and drive cars around a racetrack. And after I came out of Survivor, but, I'm a very fortunate person to have the life I've led to date anyway. So, to gratitude, I've been grateful for what I have as well.
Well, you survived some near misses, mate, no doubt, in your career out in the waves. Can you talk to me about that, mate? No doubt, I think over this past 10 months, that you'll get through all this. There's no doubt about that. And we'll talk about what's next soon. But before we get there, can we talk about, mate, the surfing side? Like, I'm so fascinated. Like, I'm like a kid. Like, I'm curious. Like, I'm shit scared of any side of big waves. Like, when I was growing up, I grew up on the Gold Coast. So Burleigh Point was a regular surf spot for me. But whenever it got, double overhead, I was always never to be seen in the surf because I didn't really like big waves and possibilities of panic and what to do if you held under the water. Mate, where does this come from? You've surfed the biggest waves you can possibly surf. What the hell does that feel like? What does the adrenaline feel like? How do you manage that?
I mean, that for me is probably what gets me through life. I mean, that's the motivator for me to keep going, because there's not swells every day, and it'd be too much adrenaline overload to get them every day. But you just need 1 or 2 per year to keep you going through the year. But yeah, it's like the build up. Over the years, I've been surfing like 42 years or something now. Yeah, about 42 years I've been surfing, but and surfing big waves since I was 19.
Wow.
First time I went to Hawaii, but and that's when I've like, finally I've got to Hawaii, and I'm like, wow, this is what I love doing, and I saw people scared around me, and I was like frothing on that. I'm going, I've got an advantage here, because I love doing this, and then there's only a few people I can see in their eyes that were really wanted it. Like Todd Chesser was one, but he died. He drowned. Mark Fu, he's died as well. Donnie Solomon, he drowned as well. I mean, okay, there's not many more left. But then now there's a lot of kids, and Kai Lenny, and there's a younger crew coming up that really they're hungry. A lot of Brazilians are hungry for these big ones.
But what I've wanted to understand, you said it earlier, it gets you through. You only need a couple of sessions a year, and it really gives you that zest for life, and it's satisfying. But like, what are you feeling like, mate? Like I'm talking about when you're at the back of log cabins, when I'm watching Biggest Wednesday, 60, 70 foot waves.
That's a different story. The first time we saw it with Tony Ray and I, we went out on our little jet ski. That's the first time we've seen anything like that. First time we've been out the back in a swell that big, and it was one of the biggest swells. It was like there were 90-foot sets.
Oh my goodness!
45-foot calculated waves. That means it's like a 90-foot face.
Oh, wow.
And that's the biggest I've ever seen. And Tony and I were just going, fuck me. We were in awe of it. We weren't even scared, because we were just it was like a trance, like paralyzed when when you get a cat by its neck, and it was just like that going.
Oh,
Holy fuck! It was like football fields turned on their sides, and we were just in awe of it. And we're trying to film the Extreme IMAX movie,
mm-hmm.
and no one could get out. And Bradshaw got out, and we went out from Bradshaw's house. And I got 3 waves. I go, Tony, come on. Get me. I said, one more. And Tony goes, give me a wave, you fuckwit. And I went, no, one more. And that was the one we got hammered on. Tony just drove into
I saw on the jet ski.
Yeah. And this is number 1998 with a 2-stroke jet ski and just and we just got cleaned up.
Mate, what do you mean?
We didn't even have life vests back then.
What do you mean?
We had rash vests.
Oh my god, mate! So what do you mean?
I had a rashie on. I had a rashie on. We had no life vest.
So, mate, tell me, what does that feel like? So, when you're getting hit by these waves, what goes through your mind when you're underwater? Yeah. I want to know.
Hey, we were what? We were in our 20s, right? Or something. I can't remember. No, maybe not. Yeah, but we were younger, and we were just like frothing so much. It was just so new. It was such a new, and there was no one doing it. It was only 4 of us had jet skis in the world boat back then. There was Laird Hamilton. They were trying to surf Jaws, and it was Ken Bradshaw, and there was only like 2 or 3 teams out there, and we were like walking on the moon basically, and Tony and I were drifting for the next 12 hours on a half sunken jet ski, and just going, what's that? And we got saved. Yeah. So
did you ever have a moment and you like? I mean, let's be honest. It takes a very special person to do this. Yeah. Did you ever have that moment? Fuck, I think I'm going to die.
Well, at one stage we're like, fuck, how are we going to get in? Because it was so big. I mean, there was the whole North Shore was closing out until Haleiwa. Like, I mean, that's 11-mile coastline, and there's nowhere to get in. Usually, there's channels everywhere, and even the Haleiwa Harbour was closing out, and we went in. I don't know how we made it in.
Oh my god, man!
And they're going, just leave the jet ski. And I'm like, no, I'm going now with the ship. There's no way. That was our baby back then, Like Tony and I are going, no, I'm not leaving this jet ski. No way. But we towed it in, and by the time we got in, the cops were there and go, "What are you guys doing out there?" And we're like, we did it.
So you obviously survived that, but you've survived a number of other big ways. Has there ever been a moment in your life, the scariest moment of your life, where you actually thought, what have I got myself into? I don't know that I'm going to make it out of this. Like, you're obviously being young, 20 earlier, and you're probably laughing and taking the piss and joking around.
In 1991, the first trip to the Mentawais that anyone had done, really pretty much anyone on a boat with Martin Daly. It was Martin Potter and Tom Carroll, and we were a group of Stuart Cadden and Whitey and Bodge, and there was Lee Mould. There was like a group of Paul Graham. There was a group of guys from Bali and Newport Beach. It was like 11 of us on a boat, a small boat, and that was the first mission out there, and it was the biggest surf we'd ever seen in Indonesia. It was like 20 feet left that we called laxative because everyone shit themselves. That we named the break.
Yeah, mate. I've heard of that. I've heard of the break.
Yeah, laxatives.
Okay.
Yeah, I named it.
Oh, did you?
And
wow.
Yeah. There's a few names that the boys named, a few places, but there was like that one moment I looked up at Tom and Potts paddling over the set, and I was.
How big are we talking?
Under it. It was probably 15, 20 feet, but like a chopu thing that goes
Okay.
below.
Oh no.
And I was like right under the lip. And it sort of like went, I guess it's like the right in WA, where it breaks on a ledge and goes really deep quickly. And I got sent down to the bottom. I mean, so deep. And then I couldn't get up for 55 seconds. Just got up to get a breath, and then a lip hit me in the head. And then I was down. I it's the closest I've come to drowning for sure.
Mate.
And that, you know, that was a nice feeling. Like it got through, okay, this is a bit much. This is a bit much. And then I started to panic a little bit. And then the panic was really short. And then you sort of give up. And you're like, oh, this is kind of nice. And I don't know if it flashes before. It's like slow motion. It just, you start sort of, it's a euphoric sensation when you're nearly drowning, when there's no oxygen to your brain. And you're just like, oh, well, I just about given up. And I didn't. And I took a breath and I was up. Thank God.
And still
yeah,
no
but
life
then I
jackets
got
back
really angry. Then I got angry. I wanted another wave and got another big board and came back. But that's the closest I've been to drowning. And that was yeah, it was kind of eerie. Maybe when I saw Donnie Solomon die. I was the only guy to watch him go over the falls. I was at Waimea Bay. I was with him surfing. He was kind of he was a cheeky little guy, and he's like, you know what? Why is your board so thick? I said, to paddle, mate. And he goes, yeah, you don't need it that thick. I went, oh, really? And then we both paddled for a wave, and I got the wave, and he missed it. And then I turned around, and he was going over the falls on the second wave with the lip, and he broke his neck and back, and he died on that wave.
How big was that?
Oh, it was 25 feet, 28 feet, like a solid set at Waimea that can, you know, Waimea doesn't take over 30 feet. It sort of closes out. But it was the biggest. He went over the lip with the lip.
Wow.
And I was the only one who saw it because everyone's panicking, going, oh, let's get out of here, you know? And then I was like, you know what? Did that look like a jet? Who was that guy that was in the lip, you know? And it was Donnie. And he was drifting out about 10 minutes later, and his board was tombstoning, and I'm going, man, that was that Donnie guy, you know?
Far out, mate. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, and it was like part of me going, well, that's, you know what, this is scary, you know, this is the reality. And then it was the same day, exactly the same time that Mark Fu died a year before at Mavericks. It was on the December 24th.
Wow. Christmas Eve.
At 11 o'clock. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going, that's kind of an eerie. And I try not to surf that day anymore. I'm not superstitious, but, and the next year after Donnie died at 11 o'clock, I got smashed at Waimea in the boulders underneath. I hit the bottom. I've never done that before.
Mate, you're kidding.
Like, this is my turn.
Might have to take a rain check on that day moving forward, mate. No more surfing. 24.
No more 24 surfing.
So I'm interested to share with our audience and our listeners who are listening in right now, because we're talking about surfing, right? It's obviously, this is your profession. Yeah. You're an absolute legend. You're a Hall of Famer in Australia, if not the world, and you've done amazing things for the sport, and you continue to do amazing things for the sport, whether you're surfing or you're a spokesperson.
I'd like to continue.
Yeah, mate, you will. But when things don't go to plan for you, so when you're surfing, right, you go, all right, I want to go surf the biggest waves possible. For example, I was in Nazaré in Portugal in 2018. You got the biggest wave, so to speak, of that year or whatever it was.
Yeah.
When things don't go to plan, Ross, for you, how do you manage your panic and how do you manage your anxieties when you're in a bad situation? I need to know.
Yeah, example now. I mean, you need to relax. Like that situation I got in at the Rocks in 18 in Nazaré. No one's been on this rocks before, so there's an unprecedented thing. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to escape. There's nowhere to get up the rocks. There's nowhere to. The rip was just going swirling around, and you know what? You sort of go back on your experiences, I guess, and you can't panic. There's nothing you can do against nature that's more powerful than you. Like, it'll just throw you against. If you panic, you're just going to lose energy. If you fight it, you're just losing energy. You need to stay calm, which is it's easy to say now, and it's
Very
pretty
easy.
hard in the moment. But you need to. You just go, you know what? I'm going to be fine. You just tell yourself, I'm going to be fine. I might just get bashed, but I'm not going to. I'm going to survive this always. I mean, it's like, nah, I'll be fine. And I just got pinballed around the rocks, but for 15 minutes, and just like, guard your head. The head's once you hit your brain, once that's when you're knocked out. Then that's it. That's when you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to protect your head and not panic. You can hold your breath for so long. And I haven't done this Wim Hof training or, I've done it over years. I do it with sleep apnea. It's like holding your breath. It's apnea training. I do it in my sleep, which is not a joke.
Yeah.
So I'm used to being depleted oxygen. Like,
do you think that's helped?
Oh, for sure. For me, I'm used to being depleted of oxygen.
Very interesting.
And it does feel that nice,
Yeah.
but I'm used to it. But people, shouldn't be used to it because it causes all sorts of other problems with all organs and down the line. So sleep apnea is not a nice disorder. But
No.
it's about staying calm, really, through these situations, like any situation, with a car accident or when you're driving or driving faster. Like, you know what? There's nothing you can do about it. So stay calm and think rationally. If you panic, you're gonna die.
And you'll deplete all your energy sources, and you'll become more tired. You'll get shortness of breath, and you said it perfectly. Then, people panic in all walks of life. People are panicking right now as we're talking.
Right now,
what's going on in the world. So your tips to them would be what? Just to slow down, try and remain calm, just do what's in your control.
No, for sure. Like, okay, like, should panic. Not panicking right now, but it's just like, listen to the government for a start. Look what's happening overseas. And especially the kids now, like, if they're watching, like, the youngers are like, everyone's going, I can't, this is an old man disease or old person's disease, or the virus won't, it's not true. And we don't know. It's weighing up with this propaganda as well, like, it's the media, it's sensationalized, but no, people are dying right now and doubling and tripling overseas. So Australia, we're really fortunate to have less people. But you know what? You don't want to spread it. Like, the kids are like, I'm fine, still surfing, but who knows where the virus is carrying, especially at snapper. I can't imagine, like, people spit, like everyone surfer spits and it goes through the system. If they got the virus, like, someone down the line's going to get it for sure.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Especially at a place like Snapper, mate. That's always got people down the line, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's like, we don't know. But for now, I reckon my advice is just stay put, stay home. Like, there's a lot to do at home. But, I'm saying that now as a 53-year-old that has been injured for 9 months. But, these kids are, absolutely jumping out of their skin, like, trying to surf and do everything and see their mates and see girlfriends. I can't imagine what it'd be like. But it's just to calm down for now, because it's not for long. And I'll be back out there with you.
Yeah, it'll pass. And mate, it's probably a really good time for you to stay put with your injury, get it to a place where it's perfect, and then by the time it blows over, mate, you'll be laughing.
Yeah, I know. I'll be ready to go.
Yeah. So, mate, obviously we connected a little bit ago, and you were really keen to support Living, and mate, you're wearing our beanie right now, so I want to say thanks.
Yeah, I'm wearing the beanie.
Thanks very much for being so open, mate, and honest and sharing.
Yeah. I shouldn't be wearing a beanie, but I will. Quicksilver understand.
Quicksilver will understand, mate. They'll understand. They have to understand.
They do understand, actually.
But on a more of a serious note, so where does what's your thoughts around living and mental health in general, and obviously you said earlier that you struggled with your injury, and it's been hard for you to come back and get back into a routine and miss out on a lot of things. But how far has this affected you or people in your life that you've worked with?
No, I know. It's like that's why I've done this thing, because this ain't weak to speak motto was a really good thing. I mean, I wasn't suicidal or anything, but I couldn't speak to anyone in my lockdown now. And I was so depressed because I want to surf, I want to do stuff, can't do anything, and it's depressing. And I get it, but you need to speak to someone. I only just went to a psychologist. I've never been to a psychologist in my life. And only a couple of weeks ago, I did a couple of sessions with this lady in Melbourne, and it was good just to vent. Like, I was crying the whole time. I'm going, she didn't even talk. Hang on, I paid her like $200.
She didn't say a word.
I was like, hang on, you should be paying me. Then she explained the second session that, it's good to get it because you've been bottling this stuff up, and it's it's not weak to speak, for sure. You need to get it out there. Like I was obviously harboring some stuff, like I was telling a complete stranger, just like flowing like verbal diarrhea out of it, and it's you need to speak to somebody. You need to speak to, like, when if you're depressed, or I've never been one to share my shit, like especially in relationships. Like, everyone talks too much about that stuff, but it's what's going on in your own mind sometimes. And I've been family and friends. I've been very close to people with depression or ADHD or disorders. Mental disorders, and I've lost a couple of people through this, and I don't want to lose any more.
And I appreciate you sharing that with me. And it would have been really difficult, I guess, for you you said you hadn't, spoken to someone in your life, and to get that first step to go and speak to someone and to share with them how you're feeling. How did that make you feel for the very first time in your life?
I was weird. I mean, I felt more depressed. Yeah. I actually walked out of that office and it started to rain, and like thunderstorms. I go, oh fuck! I actually laughed. Oh, gee. But then the second session, it'll be the darkness will come over. So literally, it was raining when I walked out of there. But it's because I'd led such a happy and joyful and fruitful life until now. I've been stuck in caged animal, and I was like, this has changed my life, what my life has changed from now. I can't do what I want to love to do. I couldn't do anything that I love to do, but changes, you have to accept change as well, and I've accepted that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
I'm going to change back when I get back.
Yeah, and you come back better than you were before. And I think we all need to go through that, but we also need to understand that it's okay to get to a point where you need to ask for help, because we're all not set in our ways. And if you've got a mentality where you know the answer all the time and that you never need help, it's probably not the right attitude to have in the first place. And I think if you can go into it with an open mind, because like you said, you've lived a very successful, fruitful, happy life. With family.
The highs
are so high.
So high, and like I'd experienced several, like I had what do you call it? A parasite, and that forms, and it's like I had a parasite I got from overseas, and I'm going, God, and I was so depressed. It was like I felt horrible. I go, why am I depressed? What's wrong with me? And I was like, someone else. I don't know what was wrong with me, but it was a parasite causes depression. This thing was depleting my brain. um, and I really experienced it because you get depressed from situational stuff. So you lose a job or whatever, you get depressed, or lose a girlfriend, or that's normal
Yeah.
depression or the normal emotion. But when your life's really good and you're feeling this, it's like you don't want to get out of bed, you just want to sleep. It's horrible, and I get all the people that have clinical or chronic depression. And I experienced that from this what do you call it? The parasite I had.
Bacteria.
Yeah, and it's a horrible thing because it's in your head and you can't get away from it. Yeah, you just need to speak to someone. And I spoke to someone. It was a freaking parasite. No, I fixed it. I spoke to a doctor instead of a psychologist. But
yeah, and instead of sitting there and thinking, like anyone who might be listening right now that might be struggling to ask for help or to reach out because they're struggling, with the right help and the right support, you and I both know, Ross, that things can get better. We can get back on track. We start living again, and it's all right to ask for help. It's the same way if you're out in the back of the surf right now in a 50-foot, 60-foot, whatever it was, swell, and you were struggling, you put your hand up and you'd ask for help.
For sure. Give me the helicopter. Yeah, I'm not proud. Give it to me. I don't care. I'll ask for help if I needed help.
Yeah,
but there was in my situation there was no helicopters, so you used to ride it out as well.
What about, mate, surfing? Like with other guys, like
surfing in general.
Listen to you talking about this, like listen to you telling me about your journey and your experiences about seeking help and how it helped you get back on track and understand that you could brain dump and get some stuff out of your head onto paper or to shed it to someone else that's a stranger, and it helped. Have in your community surfing growing up, like your mates with people like Sonny Garcia, Kelly Slater, and people like that. What was the impact on the surf community around Sonny Garcia's suicide attempt and how that impacted the surf community?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised that happened because I've spent a lot of time with Sonny over the years, and we had the first time 1987 or something. 1987, I had a heat with Sonny and at what's that beach called on the south side of Oahu? It's a sandy beach, right? His spot was like, he was all, we were nearly in a fight, and I'm going, what's his deal? I'm like, why is he so angry, Sonny? Like, what's the deal, man? I thought we were friends. And anyway, I've learned over the years, and we became really good friends. And like, Sonny's like, I saw he was suffering from depression for a while, and a long time. He's been going since that. Like, he's been suffering depression all his life. And I'm so sad to hear that he tried to take his life. And I think he's been trying everything, and he was speaking to everybody and help me. He's been exercising was a really good thing for him, and that does for everybody. The endorphins get released, and that's one of the best things that you can do for depression. That's for sure. And I'm not a doctor, but I know from experience just to exercise.
Definitely.
And he was doing triathletes and triathlons, and it's just such a sad thing that he's right where he is now. He attempted suicide and it didn't work, and I don't know for a fact, but he's just in limbo right now. So that's the last I've heard.
It's sad, and you and I both know, as we mentioned earlier, with the right help and support. And for some people, it's very hard to seek help because they don't know what they're asking for or what that looks like. I've got people in my family and my friendship circles that struggle asking for help because they feel judged or they don't not good enough, and they're going to look at being weak. And that's why we're doing everything we do with living around It Ain't Weak to Speak, and empowering people to speak up. And you've said it firsthand, your experiences with it. And,
I've lost a friend, lost family and friends that, some parents, killed themselves in front of their children. And in front of the grandmother. It was just a horrible sort of thing. You know, it's macabre situation that everyone has to live with, and it's I can't imagine that when it comes to that case, to take their lives. But you've got to try everything to speak and talk to everyone as possible, you know.
And to stay alive, because everyone has the power to stay alive, and
yeah,
you know, it is avoidable.
About living, man, not dying.
Yeah, it's about living. Exactly right.
It's not a logo, it's called living.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the goal, you know, and you know, we're grateful to get people on the show like yourself to share from your experiences, you know, because I can tell you right now, Ross, from the outside looking in, people be like, fuck man, this bloke surfs the biggest waves of all time. He's hard ass. He's as hard as nails, this bloke. He could do anything. But to be honest and vulnerable and share your experiences goes a long way to people who look up to you, you know, and want to become big wave surfers and want to become professional athletes. And I think it's a testament to the work that you've done, the work that you continue to do. And I'm very grateful to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
What's next for you then, mate, as far as, you know, the road to recovery and then getting back out in the surf? How does that sort of trajectory look for you over the next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're even allowed to leave the house at one stage, but you know, hopefully in the near future, I'm just going to surf in Australia and try to find some big waves around here and get back into surfing, and hopefully go to back to Nazaré and Galicia in Spain with Axi Munyan. He's a bar surfer over there. Okay, that's what we're meant to do this year, but I unfortunately I had the accident, so that's got put on hold.
So what are you looking for? Like what you know, when you surf?
These massive slab sort of waves and like tubing massive waves. But
do you want the biggest wave or do you want the best wave? What are you looking for?
Just not so much the big. It's like unknown waves, biggest unknown waves, and exploring. More about exploring to me is the key to keep going, you know.
Process. You love the process, the journey.
Yeah, just like I mean, Nazaré is cool, and you know, it doesn't happen every day, and it's not always that perfect. To get the perfect wave Nazaré is hard, but I mean, there's so many more waves in Spain and in Portugal and Morocco as well. You know, like I really want to explore more of that stuff.
Mate, you're an absolute legend. And considering what you still wanted to achieve, considering what you've already achieved and what you're setting out to achieve is awesome. I think the road to recovery is not far, and I think it's the best time right now. Stay put and start keep working on your self-care and strategies to getting back on that surfboard, mate, and getting back out there. And I do want to know, like, you know, when you're looking for these breaks and you go, all right, this is the adrenaline. Does it feel any better on bigger waves versus 20 foot versus 50 foot? Like, is there a more fulfilling feeling there for you, having the bigger wave, or is it more of an internal thing, like that you go, I want to achieve 50 foot. I want to achieve.
Oh, no, it's not about achieving. It's about getting a really good wave, feeling your equipment's all on. And it's a team sport too, right? It's actually getting your partner a good wave as well.
Yeah.
It's like a whole, it's a whole feeling when you both get waves. You both get really good waves and successfully ride them. And so it's something different, you know. It's something, because the waves are always different, right? But it needs just that little bit. You know, like when I went right in Nazaré, I go, that was different. Maybe it wasn't the best wave or the biggest wave, but it was different.
Yeah, it wasn't like the same.
So good, you know. And it felt really good. And even going on the rocks, that was different.
Oh man,
and that felt good in a sense, you know.
What's and obviously amongst all that and amongst all the things that you've achieved to this day, what's some tips and tricks before we close up the show and before I can let people know where they can find you and they can continue the conversation after the podcast? I'm going to share some of those visuals from you on the rocks at Nazaré and some other footage I'm going to share in the Facebook group. I run a podcast Facebook group. People are more than welcome to join. So I do want to share that in there because I think that would be amazing to show people that experience and everything else that you've sort of accomplished. People might not know that might be listening that don't follow surfing, so it'd be good to show them. But what's some tips and tricks or any words of wisdom or advice that you'd probably like to leave with anyone that might be listening who's, I guess, looking for a career in big wave surfing? Or
I reckon the advice is to be yourself. I mean, even, I don't know, really to be yourself as a personality, and not try to be like somebody else. Be original. As being yourself, everyone's different. And to be yourself, and I mean, be kind to people. It goes a long way. I mean, people are psychopaths; they want to hurt things, but that's not the way. It's like kindness is. I mean, it's really necessary right now to be kind to each other and to be open, and don't judge. Don't judge. I mean, everyone does it when you're a kid. Everyone judges. You're not like this. You don't like that. Yeah. But don't judge people because more often than not, it's going to happen to you.
Very well said, mate. Very well said. Going in with an open mind, being non-judgmental, and just being the best version of yourself. And no one can take that away from you. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And that's the beauty of being yourself. Everyone's unique, aren't they?
Yeah. And don't let people bring you down. You're the only one that brings you down. People say something, it hurts. But you take it for the grain of salt. Like people say you this, you that, but you know what? It's they're projecting pretty much all the time. It's not you, it's them. So just say, you know what? I know myself. I'm feeling that way, and like I'm good. It's your problem. Not mine.
Yeah, totally.
Kill them with kindness. That's all.
Kill them with kindness. Stay positive. Stay true to you, and always keep working on yourself, mate. And I love that motto. I appreciate that. Where can people find you, mate? After the show, if they want to connect, reach out, support what you're doing, follow your journey, where can they find you?
Yeah, at RCJ 6666. It's 4 6s because I was born on the 6th of 666.
It's so good.
Through Instagram. And,
I was like, is this like an omen or what? I saw that and I'm like, born on 666, born on 6666, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, 6 of the 6th, 1966.
Gemini, mate. You're a Gemini, just like myself.
Full Gemini. Yeah,
I can tell. Well, brother, very grateful. Very grateful for your time. I appreciate taking the time to share with our audience. Everyone, you guys are listening to another episode of It Ain't Weak to Speak. I'm joined by the legend, the Hall of Famer surfer himself, Ross Clarke-Jones. We'll put everything in the show notes, post the show. I'll share with you guys videos in the podcast Facebook group, and we'll continue this chat much more in depth. Ross, mate, thanks for your time. Look after yourself. And
I will.